Hi everyone, and welcome to the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy. And my name is Mehmet. And this is lesson 3 of learning astrology. In the first two lessons, in lesson 1, we went over understanding energy and what redshift and blue shift is, and electricity and dielectricity and magnetism, and the basics of how the material world works. And in the second lesson, if you haven't already watched that, we went over learning what the sine wave is and what the basics of a sine wave is. And we also learned about the 4 elements in astrology and the 3 qualities or the 3 modes of cardinal, fixed and mutable, and the 4 elements of earth, air, fire and water. So after touching up on them basics, what I want to now do is go through each sign and its ruling planet. And the way I'm going to split this up is in sections. So I'm going to do it by season. So the first 3 signs we're going to concentrate are Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, which is in the season of spring. So like what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this book, The Practical Astrologer, as my main reference of reading about the sign and its ruling planet. And I'll also be using this book, just it has like bullet points about each sign. So I'll just use these 2 books to give you guys some info on each sign. So like I said, yeah, we're going to concentrate on spring, which is the first 3 signs. So before I get into the book, I just want to show you on the board again how the wave works. It's just like a little recap. So let's see here, right? So this is the, let me lift it up. So this is the wave going this way. So you have spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So we're going to concentrate on Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. And yeah, and the thing is with the seasons as well, they're attributed like humors. So spring is hot and moist, summer is hot and dry, autumn is cold and dry, and winter is cold and wet. So that's just, again, a quick, like how each signs have a motto, that's the same with the seasons. They all have a temperature or a vibe about them. So spring is hot and moist. So I'll put this back now, and what I'll do is I'm going to go straight into the book, and we're going to read up on the first sign of the zodiac, which is Aries. And then after I read about the sign, I'm going to read about its ruling planet. So just bear with me for a minute. So, okay. First up, we have the first sign, which is Aries. Aries is the element of fire, the quality of cardinal. The ruling planet is Mars, and the symbol is the ram. So Aries' reputation for egotism, action, and self-assertion is not based solely upon its fiery cardinal characteristics, but also upon its position as the first sign of the zodiac. At the first degree of Aries, the entire cycle of experience represented by the zodiac recommences. So what that's talking about is this 0 point here, because this is where the cycle begins at 0 point. It represents the seed moment, the germ of all actions, the point at which movement commences. As such, Arians are entrepreneurs, leaders, adventurers, courageous, impulsive, and highly motivated. Arians spot future possibilities and develop them, usually pushing their own interests. Although Aries is the first and the fastest of all the signs, it is by no means the noisiest. A great many Arians are in fact quiet and unostentatious. In this respect, Aries takes the character from Mars, a planet concerned solely with action rather than glamour and the trappings of power. The animal associated with Aries is the ram, which is noted in astrology for being aggressive and headstrong. Aries is not a sign of subtlety, and when it meets an obstacle, it will, like the ram, charge it. Arians often bang their heads against walls. Arians have so much power and energy that they tend to burn themselves up. To avoid periods of collapse and exhaustion, they should take care to replenish their resources. In medical astrology, this sign rules the head, a classic problem for overworked Arian. So I don't know if you can, as you can see here, what I've done is, or what I should explain, which I haven't explained already, is that as well as the zodiac being the cycle of our year and day, it's also within our body. So it starts from the top and goes all the way down to the feet. So Aries is the top half of the head. So this is why it's explaining that in medical astrology, they are prone to suffer with headaches, because if you've got basically too much, just say you have loads of planets in Aries, then it means you have loads of energy in this part of your body. So what I'm going to now do is talk about the planet which rules Aries, and that is Mars. So Mars rules Aries and Scorpio, a god of war in classic mythology. Mars rules energy, enterprise, dynamism, action, and self-assertion. It also rules objects connected with heat, violence, knives, guns, explosives, fires, and so on. In medical astrology, it is linked to higher temperatures, feverish complaints, accidents, and all problems requiring surgery. By its placing in the birth chart, Mars reveals the person's general energy level and overall behavior pattern. It will show the manner in which practical issues, affairs, and problems of the world are approached and handled. Because it is partly concerned with action in the outside world, Mars reveals a lot about the way we express ourselves to others. So like in my case, for example, I have Mars in Libra. So my way of communication is very balanced. Mars has a specific function in relationships. If Venus is the force of attraction, then Mars reveals the active impulse which causes people to seek out each other. Venus and Mars together reveal all possibilities in a complete and emotional and sexual relationship. Psychologically, Mars rules the internal image we have of the ideal man. In a man's chart, it may show the role model he is obliged to live up to, and in a woman's chart, Mars will show how she manages with her male half, as well as indicating her expectations of men and the type of men who attracts her. The colors associated with Mars are red and bright yellow. So as we've seen from reading this, Mars is a very explosive and fiery energy, and this is why it rules Aries, because this is the moment where the cycle starts. So it's like a bang, it's an explosion. That's why this part is redshift of the cycle. So this is because people ask, oh, so why is Aries ruled by Mars? It's because the energy and the explosiveness of Mars symbolizes the start of spring, which is the first sign, Aries. So that's why there's that connection there. So moving on now, I'm going to talk about the second sign, which is Taurus. So if you bear with me for a moment, I'll just find this out in here. So Taurus is the element of Earth. Its quality or mode is fixed. Its ruling planet is Venus, and its symbol is the bull. In complete contrast with Aries, Taurus is stable, conservative, and sensual, embodying all characteristics of fixity and the earth element. The sign values are comfortable, safe, unchanging environment and likes to hold on to the past. Taurus is a down-to-earth and practical and also one of the most productive signs. The bull is an ancient fertility symbol. Taurians like to be engaged in producing things which can be of use. A fine appreciation of beauty and form is combined with creative power. Taurians often have artistic skills. Typically, they make good singers. Taurus rules the throat, but they also may be potters, sculptors, gardeners, or work with earth in other ways. Fidelity and consistency are the sign's virtues. Obstinacy and refusal to recognize the necessity for change are its weaknesses. By temperament, Taurans often reflect the nature of the bull. They appear to be passive and contented, but are easily angered when roused. Traditionally, they have short, stocky stature with strong shoulders and large neck. Being sensualists, many Taurians are fond of smart clothes, jewelry, perfume, and they are often attracted to a style, comfortable and leisured lifestyle. So yeah, basically, like the reason why Earth comes after fire in relation to the elements is because the way it goes from fire is the first element in the zodiac because that is the least dense, and then it goes to the most dense, which is Earth. So that's so each sign has a yin yang, masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine. So the ruling planet of Taurus is Venus. So we're going to read about Venus because it's very important to understand the planets because that plays a big part. Because when you think of certain planets, you associate them with certain signs. So Venus. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Venus was the goddess of love in Roman times, but under other names, Ishtar and Astarte and Aphrodite, she was worshipped in all ancient cultures. In astrology, Venus rules the feminine half of the human psyche, showing feminine and female qualities in both men and women. In the main, these qualities are soft, loving, diplomatic, artistic, creative, and sensitive. But they also have a harder side. In political astrology, Venus rules victory in war. The major rulership of Venus sorry, let me start that again. The major rulership of Venus is all close partnerships and relationships, including marriage. In order to succeed in relationships, most people develop a Venusian qualities of softness, sensitivity, diplomacy, but negatively, the planet can become envious, jealous, and aggressive. By examining the position of Venus in the birth chart, the astrologer can deduce how it will affect partnerships and whether these will be formed easily or not. So this depends on like your Taurus placement. So a good Taurus placement would either be in Libra, Taurus, or also Pisces, because the planets also exalt in particular signs, and exaltations means means a resurrection or where they start. But we can get into that in other videos. I don't want to like confuse you too much. In a woman's horoscope, Venus may show the image of female behavior to which the individual aspires. In a man's chart, Venus may reveal his expectations of women and the type of women he finds attractive. Venus rules all objects and behaviors which are pleasant, pleasurable, beautiful, graceful, and attractive. Some people born with strong presence of Venus in their birth charts become artists, while others are drawn towards self-indulgence and pursuit of pleasure. That's very interesting because I have a good Venus. My Venus is in Libra, and I can definitely say I'm an artistic person. I also do music in my spare time and write lyrics. And also I have a Taurus moon, so that totally makes sense with regards to myself. So what we're going to do now is move on to the third and final sign in the spring season, which is Gemini. Just bear with me for a moment. Yeah, and also, yeah, like it mentioned, Taurus rules the lower head and the throat. So people with a lot of Taurian energy, like it said, they may be singers or be involved in speaking or being very creative, if that makes sense. And again, I can totally agree with that from first-hand experience, because I have a moon in Taurus and I love talking. I rap, like I said, I do music in my spare time, and also a Taurus moon on a detrimental side, it could lead to overeating and indulgence, because if you're, like in my case, my moon is in Taurus. So emotionally, I react in a Taurian way. So on a negative way, that can be like stuff like overeating. So moving on to Gemini. Gemini, the element of Gemini is air. The quality or the mode is mutable, and the ruling planet is Mercury, and the symbol is the twins. Gemini is an air sign ruled by Mercury, and it is preeminently the sign of rational and logical thought and the gathering of knowledge. The combination of air with mutable quality renders the sign almost impossible to pin down. Geminian thought must have its freedom. Geminians are often maddeningly inconsistent. They can argue one point of view one day and then completely opposite view the next. It's actual process of thinking and communicating that is important to Gemini, not the end result. The firm conclusion is not necessarily so long that the mind is kept well exercised. Geminians often become writers, orators, journalists, teachers, secretaries, lawyers, computer programmers, or take up other activities in which their mental skills can be exercised. Gemini's mental nervousness affects the body, and Geminians are obliged to work of the physical exercise, running, walking, and being two common activities. It has been said that the most natural animal for the sign would be the nervous chattering monkey with its permanently restless habits. As it is, the symbol of Gemini is the twins, embodying the essential split in the sign's nature, the divorce of the intellect from the emotions. Geminians find it difficult to express their emotions as they often rationalize them first. They are subject to unexpected sudden changes of mood. Geminians are versatile and can turn their hands to more than one thing at the same time. Jack of all trades. However, if their talents are spread too thinly, they may not achieve their aims. It's interesting what it said about where is it? It said something about Geminians and their hands. Well, in the body, in the medical astrology, Gemini is the hand, and it's also the two lungs, because Gemini is the twins. So it's talking about the two hands, which are twins, and it's talking about the lungs as well. So it corresponds with the respiratory system in medical astrology. And the planet, which is the ruler of Mercury, ruler of Gemini, beg my pardon, is Mercury. So now we're going to go on and read about Mercury. So, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. In classic mythology, Mercury was the messenger of the gods and the goddesses on Mount Olympus. In astrology, this planet rules all forms of communication, physical and mental, trivial and profound. For example, a short bus journey to see a friend is a very mercurial experience, as also is the deep process of psychoanalysis. Mercury is the only planet which combines male and female qualities. As such, it can be used to achieve the fundamental reconciliation between the opposing halves of our personality. Although Mercury is apparently a superficial planet, its psychological purpose is to facilitate self-transformation by the means of self-knowledge and understanding. Mercury is necessary if we are to know the outside world. It rules short-distance travel, all forms of learning, and the acquisition of knowledge. It also rules the objects that we use to communicate with one another: telephones, books, trains, cars, newspapers, televisions, pencils, pens, and so on. In the modern world thinking machine, computers are mercurial development. In the birth chart, Mercury reveals the manner in which the individual thinks, speaks, indicating intellectual interests and their manner of expression. By examining Mercury in a birth chart, the astrologer can advise the best way to limit its weaknesses and enhance its strength. People with Mercury highly developed in their charts should seek careers in the communication field, teaching, journalism, taxi driving, travel business, secretarial work. So yeah, that was like a summary of Mercury. Like personally, again, for me, my Mercury is actually in a weak placement in my chart. I'm going to do a separate video on birth charts and what good placements are and what good placements ain't. But just to give you like a quick summary on aspects. So, for example, if you have Mars rules in Aries, so if you have Mars in Libra, the total opposite sign, it's in its weak position because it's away from its home. So if it's 180 degrees away from where it rules, it's a weak position. So for me, Mercury is in Sagittarius, which is totally opposite Gemini, because Gemini are quick speakers, good communicators. So yeah, they're quick. That's why it deals with short journeys. But when Mercury is in Sagittarius, which is about long journeys, the two modes don't match, because it's about being quick and to the point. But Sagittarius is about philosophy and religion, higher wisdom. So it explains. It's more thorough detail. So that's why Sagittarius and the Mercury energy don't match. So for example, what you can do, what that kind of usually creates in the person is nervous tendencies. So if you look up like medical astrology or herbalism, you can find a herb to deal with that. So in my case, I use like a lot of oregano oil to kind of calm down my anxiety and my nerves. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And in the next video, we're going to be going over the summer season, which will be Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. But before we go, I'm just going to use this book, which is a really interesting book, actually. It's called The New Astrology by Suzanne White. And what this does, it combines Western astrology and Chinese astrology. But what this has got is like a bullet points for each sign. So what I'm going to do is just go over the main bullet points for the 3 signs I've explained. So just to kind of give you a roundup of each sign. So again, we have Aries. It's from March the 21st to the 20th of April. The ruler is Mars. The element is fire. The quality and mode is cardinal. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries have the following characteristics: courage, drive, heartness, affability, talent, and enterprise. Aries sins may include naivety, excess, ostentation, willfulness, sanctimony, and domination. Taurus, from April the 21st to May the 21st, the element Earth, the ruling planet Venus, the quality and mode fixed. Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac. Taurians have the following characteristics: patience, determination, logic, industry, sensuality, and ardor. Taurian sin may include languor, gluttony, prejudice, complacency, jealousy, and interactability. And finally, Gemini is from May the 22nd to June the 21st. The ruler is Mercury, the element is air, and the quality and mode is mutable. And Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac. Gemini have the following characteristics: their quick-wittedness, versatility, performance, dexterity, flexibility. And Gemini's sins may include impatience, self-deception, glibness, superficiality, inconsistency, and indecisiveness. So that's the roundup for today. Like I said, we're going to go by season. So we're going to concentrate next on summer, which is Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, and we're going to concentrate on the ruling planets of those signs. So I hope you enjoyed this short video, and I really look forward to catching up with you guys soon. Peace, love, and blessings. I'm out.